I guess what everybody really wants to know about is kind of prepping their car for the season of the spring. Well, I've got a really easy way to do that. If you recall, we've got this is my car prep sheet that I use, and we go racing, and it lives within the Speed Therapy Society resource. Facebook group resource section. You can download it from there. But basically, it kind of, I mean, getting ready for spring is no different than getting ready for a track event or a race. And you pretty much do the same types of things. You know, you go under the hood, you want to check the air filter, you know, the radiator, power steering, oil levels. Well, I would change the oil. And if the car's been sitting around all winter, I'd go ahead and change the oil, get some fresh oil in there, oil and filter, and check the water lines, the fuel lines, you know, the power steering fluid, pretty much everything under the hood that you can have a good look at, the belts. And then, of course, you want to start taking a look, get the car up in the air using your Kenny Brown jacking rails and jack stands. You get in the car, have a good look at everything. Now, typically, what I do when we work on the cars is all four wheels come off so we can see everything. In fact, if you've ever been with me at the track, anytime the cars come in, we're racing, anytime the cars come in, boom, they're up in the air, all four wheels are off, and we're underneath, looking at everything underneath the car. But have a good look at everything, you know, and do your nut and bolt check, you know, brake lines, nuts and bolts, and just visually do a good check of everything. If it's not clean, give it a good cleaning, because I like a clean car because I can see if anything's going wrong. And then, you know, same thing at the back of the car. You do a quick nut and bolt check. Just check everything. And then, let's see, what else do I got here? You know, you should check the rear end and transmission fluids, and also tighten up the bolts, check the drive shaft. Back to the engine, you know, alternator plug wires, the belts. And then, yeah, it pretty much goes over everything. Now, some of the other little things is if you had antifreeze in it for the winter, and it's a track car, you're going to want to drain the antifreeze out and get water in there with water wetter. Just straight water with water wetter cools much more efficiently than coolant. So if it's going to be a track car, get water in there. Also, a lot of tracks don't really like people running antifreeze. If something would happen, if somebody blows a hose with antifreeze, and it's an hour delay. Because antifreeze is like oil on track, where it's just water, it'll just evaporate off. And then here's something at the battery. Have a good look at your battery. See what the terminals look like. If there's any kind of like little crusty things growing on them, or if there's an older car and the battery is like look a little moist on the top, what you want to do is get yourself some baking soda and water and just pour it on the battery and let it fizz in all the little crusty things growing on the terminals. Give it a good fizz and take water and wash it off. But then I would pull the battery terminals off and make sure you've got a good connection. There's little battery things that, you know, I've got them in my toolkit. I can just put them on the post on the batteries and kind of puts a fresh surface on there. And a little grinder thing goes up inside. If you don't have that, it's pretty easy. Just get some sandpaper and go around on the posts, and then up in the terminals for the battery, you know, put it back on to get that, you know, tightened down. Because here's the thing: if you've got a little film on top of the battery, a little acid film, that actually drains the battery. If you've got that little film over the winter, your battery's probably going to be dead or close to it. So you'd be sure to give the battery a good charge if it's not. And of course, you know, obviously check your tires, check your tire pressure. Just make sure that, you know, just take a good look at everything. And of course, bleed the brakes. Anybody that pays attention to me knows that I am just mad about bleeding brakes. I bleed the brakes all the time. Very simply because when I go to hit the brake pedal, I want good brakes because I'm typically going pretty darn fast. And I mean, I change the brake fluid before we go to an event. We bleed the front brakes after the first day, and it's not a whole lot of bleeding, just, you know, a couple pumps just until the fluid turns clear. And then we bleed them again at the end of the second day. And then Again, when we get ready to go to the track, we'll give another quick bleed. I just like fresh fluid everywhere. So bleeding the brakes, make sure you use high temperature brake fluid if you're going to be going on track. And obviously get some fresh gas, because gas will kind of deteriorate over the winter. Get some fresh gas in there. And it's kind of just all basic common sense. But there is this, this checklist that is available for you for free. Just download it from the Speed Therapy Society Facebook private group resource section. Yeah.